Namaste. The last few weeks in class, we've been working a lot on core and moving from our base, thinking of the Mula Bandha and a little bit of an Uddiyana Bandha. And we're going to just explore a few poses now to help engage with that. So especially in transitions of moving or jumping through or jumping back or lifting up, we want to really feel the lift through our base, not just pressing through our arms, but really see if we can move and we can stay in our center. So we're going to come into a few hip openers, and then we're going to see if we can take that into a way of lifting up a little bit more. So best thing is if you've done a few sun salutations, done a few warrior twos, and maybe tree pose. So we want to get it a little bit into the hips. But once you've done that, we're going to meet on our hands and knees. So you're going to spread your fingers out. You come into a neutral spine and step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. Stretch your back leg so you can extend through your left heel, and then take your right hip slightly underneath you, so you want your pelvis to be stable. Now you might want to stay here and just feel the pelvis releasing down, but keep extending your chest forward. And you stay connected to your base and to your lower abdomen. Maybe you can take your right hand to the outside of your right foot. You're creating a little bit more space here. It's almost like your thigh or your knee is resting on your right upper arm. Again, maybe you want to stay and explore this. Maybe if it's a bit too much, you bring your back knee to the floor. Otherwise, see if you can grab hold of your right ankle with both hands. So really you're just pressing through your feet here. You want to really feel this in your hips, the strength through your legs. So this is what's grounding you. Now place your hands back down and let's just stretch into a downward facing dog. Just take a couple of breaths. And then let's take the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Again, just take a moment just to connect into your hip sockets through your thigh bones. And then you can take your left hand to the outside of your left foot. Again, you can sink a little bit lower maybe, but keep that engagement through both legs. You press through the ball of the right foot, right thigh bone moving into right hip socket. And then you can grab hold of your left ankle. But as you release down, keep thinking about left thigh bone drawing inwards in towards your left hip socket, even as you release a little bit deeper. And they'll probably give you a bit of movement here as well in your legs. And then release your hands, but just stretch the back foot downward facing dog. You can stay here for a few moments, and maybe you want to just flow. You can move into a plank position and then lower down chaturanga to the floor, come into your back bend, and into a downward facing dog. And then just bring your knees down and sit back onto your heels. So we'll start in this position to kind of get the lifting up. So the lifting up is from a downward facing dog. How do we bring the legs out in front of us? Or how do we move from a child's pose into the legs out in front? So this is what we want to work with. We want to create that movement by drawing inwards. So sitting back onto your heels, if you have blocks are very useful in this position. And by sitting back onto your heels, you're just going to cross your ankles, just crossing the ankles, and we're going to feel that lifting in and up. So we're going to make ourselves really, really round, like our cat-cow stretches. We want to feel that lifting in and up, and that's what's going to take us forward. You can take your hands onto your blocks. The blocks are useful in the way that they will raise the floor. It will give you a bit more space. All we're going to do here is just to start to lift the knees off the floor. But as you lift your knees off the floor, you want to take your seat underneath you. You want to really round into your back. Now your toes can stay on the floor. You want to feel the lift really by pressing in and up. So you feel this through your abdomen. This is a movement through your abdomen. So really press into the floor. There's a rebound effect of lifting in and up, rounding inwards. So the next step is to see if we can from here lift the toes off the floor as well. And you come into this little round space. And then maybe you can take your legs out in front. So it's exploration. And it's a lot of little steps and a lot of practice. So we'll try to work with that again. So from sitting back onto your heels, crossing your ankles, maybe crossing the other direction to see how that works. Hands onto the floor, onto your block. Again, you feel a lift in the pelvic floor. That will help to lift the abdomen in and up. And that movement will then lift your legs up. Maybe your legs come out in front and you can sit down onto the floor. Good. So now we have the legs out in front. We're going to explore a little bit more space here. So take a moment in the Lasana, really sit up nice and tall, legs engaged. Bend your right knee towards you and let's just cradle the leg. So maybe hold onto your knee, hold onto your foot. Maybe you can put your leg into your elbows if that feels good. The most important thing in these positions are that this is a movement in your hip joint. This is not a movement in the knee. The knee will just flex or stretch. And now it's just being flexed. And the rest of the movement is in your hip. Maybe you can start to take your knee, your leg behind you. And just like when we were in our lunge, maybe the thigh can move on top of your left upper arm. I'm going to put the blocks to the side because they're not very useful here. So, pressing your hands down to the floor with your leg maybe onto your left upper arm. Maybe you're just cradling it and that's where you're going to stay for a minute. Engaging your outstretched leg, your right leg. Again, you're going to press down. You're going to lift it up just like we did before. So your seat lifts off the mat and then release it down. This is a movement you should feel in your core, in your abdomen. From here, we're going to see if we can extend that lift so the whole of the right leg will lift up. So that might not happen today, but maybe we just feel that lift through the abdomen. Maybe we feel the lift through the off the floor, and just maybe the front leg would reach up in front, and then slowly release it down. And then just take a breath, relax your legs a little bit, and then you can bend your right knee towards you, then cradle the leg, just notice the movement in the hip joint. And again, maybe that's where you're going to stay, maybe all you're going to do is just to feel the movement behind you. So having your knee moving towards the back of your mat. And maybe you can place that leg on top of your right upper arm, hands by your side, only a little bit in front of your hips. So when you go inwards, your seat kind of moves behind you. So just take a moment, really feel the space in your arms across your back, so you can breathe into your back. Again, you feel the lift, maybe just through your seat, maybe a few times you just try to lift it up. So you really need to round inwards to do that, not just straighten your arms, straighten them out, not do anything. The movement is really coming from lifting through your base. So when we move from our core and from our base, we move safely. And then again, maybe the left leg will lift. And release it down. So just take a moment just to release your legs. And then come into a cross-legged position. So there are many different movements of lifting in and up, many different variations of poses to come into when we get that lift. So one of the poses we can do is to move into a lotus position. So if you are happy to come into a full lotus, this is a really stable pose. The base is completely solid. There's not much movement. So if you're having one of these poses again, this is a movement where you can lift up. So here you can maybe use your blocks and have your blocks by your side, just as a way of as a tool really to help us lift us higher. If we feel our arms might feel very short in these positions. So if you're happy using blocks, you can take your blocks by your hips. Again, when we lift up, we need to round because really our hands are just kind of touching the floor for most of us. So even if you straighten your arms, nothing will happen. The lift has to come from your center. So as you're ready, you can hold onto your blocks. You're going to lift through the pelvic floor. You're going to lift your lower abdomen, and then you can lift it up. And maybe you can swing forward and backwards, Vilasana. But the weight of the lift is really through your center. So you may do this without or with the blocks. If you're quite stable here, we can play around with this a little bit more. So you can take your hands in between your right lower leg and thigh, your arm between your left lower leg and your thigh. So you can take them quite high. They will fall down a bit. So now your hands are inside your legs. And again, we'll see if we can lift off from here. Just about. So finding the balance. You want to lift your knees high towards your chest and release it down. So I think that is enough core and lifting it up and up for the minute. So thank you so much for your patience and your practice. Namaste.